was so tasty, I finished it on the way here.
Failed. Why didn't you just make another one?
Well, that's what I'm doing right now.
No, that's not the same thing.
I know it's not the same, but
Elizabeth,
time is that. Uh-oh.
what am I supposed to do?
Let's stand by. What did you do before I did this for you?
I did it myself, but now that you've
okay.
set a standard that
I mean,
you get this stuff done, so I don't have to do it.
Right.
Gosh.
Jeez.
Why should I have to? Now, this.
Oh, is it not?
It works.
Sufficient?
Barely, but it works.
Not sufficient.
Good freaking morning. Mr. Workman, good morning. Gordon, good morning. Elizabeth, come on in. There you are. Hi there.
I am in the weirdest mood this morning. It's so weird.
That's gonna be great. I'm gonna do what I can to change that. Wait, weird, good, like weird, happy mood or weird,
yes,
like I want to rip somebody's head off mood?
I mean, can I be
both?
I don't know.
You're happy you want to rip somebody's head off?
It's like I'm slap happy. I don't know. It's weird.
Okay. Well, then I'll do what I can to...
Slap happy. Yes, I slap you and it makes me happy.
Crap.
Yes.
Good morning and welcome to our show this morning.
What day is it?
And Liz slapping me, apparently. Vinny is not here today. Vincent is on the road currently, or maybe he's already there, out to CMMG. Vinny, Dan, Chris, maybe another one or two. I don't know who else.
What is toasty?
There is something wrong with you. Liz just said it's toasty in here.
I know.
And she's always frozen. It'd be like 95 degrees in here. But anyway, so yeah, they're all heading out to CMMG to go shoot guns and have some fun and stuff like that. Don't worry about that right now, because we got to talk about a few other things.
Okay.
Unless you want to dig right into it. We do have a pretty tight schedule this morning, so come on in here.
Yeah, hot flashes.
I'm just going to leave that alone.
Yeah.
Coffee
go. See?
Right in front of you.
Good.
Holy crap. So we want to talk about some considerations, excuse me, some considerations for owning a firearm for self-defense. But before we get into that, we have a class today. What are you teaching today?
Concealed carry law review.
And what do we talk about in that class?
Reviewing the law.
Okay. Boom. It's a confusing title, I know. Can you take this class and not have a CCW permit?
Yes.
Okay. Can you take this class and not have a CCW permit and then go get your permit after taking this class?
No.
Correct. This we spend 4-ish hours, I think, right? Mm-hmm. Just talking about the law and in big picture, and then we narrow it down to more Missouri specific stuff. And it's just a great time to ask all those what if questions. We get a lot of people that go through the CCW class, and it's 8 hours of law and basic firearm stuff and accessories and how to carry a gun, all these crazy things, and it's so much information that truly you can't retain it all. And the law stuff's pretty darn important. And so this is a cool class where you get to come in and you get to ask those. I mean, we get to what if all day long. At some point, we're going to shut you down.
Not all day. Yeah. We only got 4 hours.
We are going to shut you down if you get into the, well, can I have a tank? And if I do have a tank, is that considered concealed carry? No, just because you're concealed in it doesn't mean no. But we will shut some of that stuff down. But it's a great opportunity to ask those questions and get a bunch of answers.
Or get a refresher or get an understanding of our law in lieu of getting your permit. We still advocate for the permit, of course. Of course, the permit affords you so many things, and you'll learn what those things are in the law review class, but at the very least, you'll get a deeper understanding of the law, and that's really important. So many people will buy a gun, and they will, I don't think that they can protect their property or their dogs or win a fight. There's all kinds of reasons
yeah.
why people think that a gun can be used, and that's just not the case. You know, one of them it's quite interesting to me, and I can get the whole forward thought of this, but you can't, is if someone stealing your car, and it's like, okay, they have the material possession, but so many people save their address in their car, or they have a garage door opener in their car, or some sort of access to their house, or personal documents, and people get very anxious about it. They're like, well, they're taking my car, and now they have access to all these other aspects of my life, so that's more of a danger, so therefore the gun is more justified, and it's not the case. Like, they might have the garage door open to come back to your house later, and while that is definitely something to consider for future safety and precautions and planning, you can't use force in that moment for them stealing your garage door opener.
Deadly
so,
force.
yeah, deadly force. So, anyway, those questions can come up and get answered in that class, and that was an interesting one to me.
Yeah. So it's a great class. It's half day, and you get to nerd out for a little while and pick our brains. Definitely more hers than mine, because you don't get much when you pick my brain. But
I was expecting an insult. I got a compliment.
I was going
Thanks.
to. I was actually going back and forth in my head on who I wanted to insult, you or me.
Who you wanted to insult. Well, it
I already
depends on the
insulted
day.
you a couple of times this morning, so
Yeah.
I want to flip your giddy mood into a shitty mood just because, but I'm going to do that throughout the course of the day, not
okay.
just in the first 5 minutes.
Got it.
So, all right. Dang it! I had something else I was going to mention.
Customer appreciation
Customer appreciation coming up in
next weekend.
10 days. That's
Not this
crazy.
weekend.
Yeah.
Next weekend, the
Not
14th.
this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, Customer Appreciation Day. You should have gotten an email from us yesterday explaining what's going on. It's going to be chaos. That's all the email should have said. It's chaos, and it's awesome.
Good chaos.
Yes. Free lanes. I'm going to be in a dunk booth. She's going to be in a dunk booth. We got some free classes, stuff that we're teaching.
Swag and giveaways and
Rob Morton from
education, tactical care concepts.
Tactical Care Concepts. We teach a tourniquet class. GOA will be here giving a little class. Why am I drawing a freaking
You'll be
blank?
Giving a little class.
Yeah, I already said that, but
No, you didn't.
I did.
No.
We will be doing a class on. I almost said gun control.
Tortilla slapping.
Tortilla slapping, man. We should.
I showed Eli that video last night. He was
Did you?
dying.
Oh, it's so awesome. So.
Ryan, appreciate me now. I don't want to wait.
No, not doing that. Ritz, good morning. What the heck am I doing a class on? On gun safety at home.
Gun safety at home.
Yeah. So, exactly. Dunking me is worth the price of a free admission for sure. Mm-hmm. But come on out, workman.
And watching me trying to dunk Phil is hilarious as well.
You throw like a girl.
Yes, 100%. I'll kick my foot up at the same time when I do it. Is that what you're supposed to? No, it's not what you're supposed to do. So I shoot guns.
Okay. Anyway, that's going on. It's going to be a great time. So come out. There'll be deals. There'll be free stuff. There'll be lots of people, games, all sorts of things going on. So please come out and hang out with us next weekend. Come out and hang out with us today and this weekend, but especially next weekend as well. Okay. Now, we have like 1 minute.
Okay, go.
Cover
all right.
the whole thing.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the considerations for owning a firearm for defensive purposes. We talked about this a little bit the other day. Was it yesterday? And the realization from one of our students that said, like, this isn't fun to me, but it's purpose-driven, and here we are, right? Considerations for just that aspect of it's not something I'm going to go and do sport things with or go out with my friends to go do this. This is a purpose-driven task thing that I'm going to come to terms with.
Okay. So, what are some things that could change in your life? Well, I have a little list over here to my size. No, disregard. What you wear. That could change. some people say dress around the gun. Some people say buy a gun that fits your current wardrobe. You're making a sacrifice no matter what you do. If you sacrifice your wardrobe for a gun, then potentially you could have higher capacity, easier ability to shoot it because it's bigger, less recoil, holster options, all
fits
kinds.
You better,
Fits you better. So there's a sacrifice you could be making there with your wardrobe for the gun, or it could be vice versa. You could choose to sacrifice the gun for your wardrobe, carry something very small. I was reading Gordon's comment. No, Gordon, that's bad. He said, what's the minimum caliber to trip the dunk target?
Nope.
No. So you have to consider your wardrobe.
How many millimeters is a baseball? That's the size. Workman, tell me, how many millimeters is a baseball?
Oh, he's an umpire.
Yes. He's a baseball aficionado.
Where you shop could change. As you become more of a 2A advocate, you might find yourself choosing to not go into certain places. Maybe if you have a firearm on you, you don't want to patron places that don't want to allow you to carry your gun in there and maintain your Second Amendment rights. So you might find yourself changing that part of your lifestyle as well. And while that seems kind of not a big deal, it depends on how far down the rabbit hole you get. I am kind of addicted to Starbucks, and they're kind of not pro 2A. So, it's you get to make that choice, but just know that you're sacrificing one thing for the other. Maybe your favorite restaurant has a sign in the front door that says no guns allowed. Are you still going to choose to patron them, or are you going to choose to find a new restaurant? So that could change your lifestyle. Yeah. You broke it.
I did.
Your travel. Where you travel. Whether or not you can take a gun there, and just understanding the reciprocity of other states, and whether or not you want to carry your gun to those states, like carry concealed, or just, travel to another state and what?
I was just reading Workman's comment. He answered.
Of course
73 to 75 millimeters.
You're welcome. Hi, Eugene. I had a lady come in one time with her dad, and her dad was inquiring about training. And he was saying, okay, well, I want to get a gun, I want to conceal carry, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I'll learn the laws and all that. And then his daughter asked, so he'll be able to carry it to work when he goes to work at Illinois? And I'm like, nope. And she's like, what? Why? If he can carry it here, why can't he carry it over there? I was like, oh, that's a good question. So that's a big thing. There's a lot of people who work right across the river. So that's also a consideration, is where you work. Maybe you work at a hospital, or maybe you work at a school where there's typically the sign in the window that says you can't have a gun. And there's definitely usually an employee handbook that says you can't have a gun in there. That's a private establishment asking for you to abide by their policy. And if you don't, given that you have your permit, they could ask you to leave before any legal action is taken. If you don't have your permit, then you could face legal action. So that's something to consider there. And if you work at a place where you absolutely want to carry a gun, but that's against policy, you got to weigh that decision for yourself. Are you still going to choose to carry a gun and risk your employment, or vice versa? So
I talk about that one a lot in class, because people will often say, well, if I worked at a place that wouldn't allow me to carry a gun, I just won't work there. Okay,
yeah.
Right? Like, great, good for you that you have so many job opportunities. You can just choose to not show up to work today because, and if you want to make that choice, that's totally okay. Other people have to, it's a balancing act, right? You're making a sacrifice one way or the other. So you have to decide, like, hey, I really like my job. I like the people I work with. I like where I work. I would love to be able to carry a gun. They won't let me. If I get caught, I'm going to get fired. So to me, it's not worth it. To the next person, they might weigh those same options. Hey, I really like all these people, but they're not going to let me carry a gun. Screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. And then if I get caught, I get fired, and I'll deal with those consequences. And then the third person might say, you know what, they don't want me to carry a gun, so I'm not going to continue to work for them. I'm just going to go on somewhere else. Those are all choices you make, right? And none of them are right or wrong, right? Or none of them are wrong. They're all right. As long as you weigh the pros and cons and you make the best decision, then it's okay. I kind of feel the same way about the, going into an establishment that doesn't want you there.
Yeah.
Okay. I might really like the thing. I might really like Starbucks, so I choose to patronize them anyway. That's okay, right? Do I give you a hard time about it? Yeah. Would I still drink Starbucks? Sure. One that I have a really hard time with, and it's kind of sucks because I like some of their products and my kids especially, but is Nike. I just can't.
I know, me too.
I can't bring myself to buy Nike stuff anymore, and that's just a decision that I've made. Even though I go into the store because my kids like their new shoes, and I tried telling them, I got one of them away from them, but anyway, they want to look at this or the new soccer jersey or this or that, and it just, but it's okay, right? It is what it is.
I think the power comes from being able to make an educated decision.
Make your own choice.
Make your own choice. Don't do it because we say so or anybody else. Do it because it fits your lifestyle. Everybody lives a different life, and we make decisions for different reasons. So be okay with that, but just make an educated decision. Have the information there so that way you make the decision that's best for you. You know what sacrifices you're making in that moment. Who you tell. I remember when I first started carrying a gun and working in the industry, and this was actually before I started working in the industry, but I used to carry back here at 4 o'clock, and my grandma, every time I'd give her a hug, she'd pat me. She'd pat me down, and she'd feel the gun, and she'd be like, oh, Lizzie. So, we got past it and everything, but not everybody's going to agree with your decision to carry a gun. I'm fortunate that my family is very open-minded to firearms. There's definitely a few of my aunts and uncles that weren't, but they were respectful of my decision to carry a gun, which I think is massive. Even if you choose not to carry a gun, if you disagree with someone else's decision, that's fine. Keep it to yourself. Or if you want to have a good conversation about it, like why I carry a gun versus why you don't want to carry a gun, you can have those good conversations too. You don't have to belittle each other. You can just say, okay, I understand that you don't want to have a gun in your house because you sleepwalk. That's valid, right? Like, for a fact you will get up in the middle of the night and mess with stuff. Well, either someone else has to have a safety or safe code,
just
or
duct tape yourself.
Yeah. So, everybody has their reasons. So respect other people's reasons, and who you tell isn't necessarily as much of a thing as you think it is. Yeah. Especially when you first start carrying it, you get this impression that you have to let everybody know. Like, if you're going over to your friend's house, you're like, hey, can I bring my gun with me? Is that okay? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
You could just keep it on you and never say anything, and nobody would ever know. And that's typically how I'd like to live my life.
I don't tell anybody. Yeah. Now, it comes up sometimes, especially when they realize what I do for a living.
Sure.
But it had an interesting conversation with some of the soccer moms a year ago. One of them found out, one of them might have, I don't remember how it came up, but found out what I did. And we were talking one day, and it came up, I work in the firearms world, yada, yada, yada. Well, then, 2 or 3 weeks later, she's talking to my wife, talking to Cindy, and they're talking about this, that, and the other thing, and the lady's like, your husband doesn't carry a gun, does he? And that always puts Cindy in kind of a weird spot. She's like, well, sometimes, a lot of times, most of the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, so does he have his gun on him right now? And she's like, I don't know, but probably. What? And then it became like, oh, how do you do that? How do I not know?
Yep.
And it actually led to a good
conversation.
Did you know? Oh, I know, but then that, holy shit. Shoot, stuff. Sugar.
No, shoot, what? I don't know what we're talking about.
So I try not to tell anybody that I'm carrying a gun. I did have conversations with my kids years ago when they were little, like, hey, you're going to see it, this is a thing. This is for our protection. It's not something you go and you brag to your friends, oh, my dad carries a gun, so if you do this, I'm going to tell my dad. That's not what this is about, and you shouldn't portray it that way either.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, David says you'd be amazed how many people couldn't care less that you're carrying a gun, but also the flip side of that, how many people care that you're carrying a gun. My little guy, he's now in kindergarten this year, but he just got out of daycare, and when I first started taking him to this daycare, I filled out the parental release form and everything, and I put my place of work and a firearms instructor, and immediately after that they put a sign in the window that says no concealed firearms on the property, and I was like, felt a little defeated. Moving on, several months later they took it down because they saw that I'm just a person. I'm a nice person. I'm not going to come in there and be a threat to them. It's for my protection. And after they learned that I'm a nice person and I'm not going to come in and hurt them, they were probably thankful that I was able to have some protection on me just in case if I was there and something did go down. So that sort of respect came in a way that I was not expecting, and I liked it. So good. You got to say it.
Jim, good freaking morning, sir.
We got about 7 minutes left.
5.
Can you be violent?
We talked about this not too long ago. I don't remember if it was on this Facebook page or our backup Facebook page a while ago.
Yeah.
That is not as easy as you think.
No.
We were just talking about this morning at jiu-jitsu. We had a new guy in class, and he could not try to hurt me. He was having a really, really hard time trying to apply pressure to me to choke me or in an arm bar or whatever. Violence is hard. You think it's easy, but it's not. It's
a fundamental human fear to have violence enacted on you, and a lot of times people have a really hard time acting out violence on other people. It's a fundamental phobia of humans. So
we in the women's self-defense clinic last week, Friday, we had a young lady in class, looked like she would not care about hurting you, right? She had a sleeve of tattoos, she was in shape, and she was like, yeah, let's go. And we got to doing some chokes, and her friend was a little bit hesitant, so I said, if you choke me. And so she's got me pinned against the wall, and she's like barely applying any pressure. I'm like, no, choke me. If I'm talking to you, you're not choking me. And she's like, I am choking you. No, you're not, right? And she was trying to apply pressure, and it was so hard. It led to a great conversation afterwards about exactly what we're talking about here, about that making the choice to be violent is not as easy as you think. You think, okay, I'm just going to do this and defend myself or defend my wife or my husband or my kids or whatever. You may not. You may not. It's hard.
And you don't want to think that, well, just displaying my gun will make them go away. So I'm not even going to keep around in the chamber. I'm not going to load my gun. And it's one of the most dangerous things you can do is to have the inclination to just display the gun as a warning or fire a warning shot, which are illegal. So warnings are not a thing. Lead up music and fog on the ground is not a thing. These things happen very fast.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Without a lot of warning. So if you have a gun and you think that you're going to just display it, there's a very good chance it's going to get taken away from you and used against you. So God forbid it ever gets to the point where you do have to draw your firearm. That level of force has to have been met for your gun to come out. So that means the threat needs to stop right now, and that means it's you got to make that leap. So, couple minutes.
So much to talk about.
You need to know yourself. You need to know if you're a high responder. You need to know your fight, flight, or freeze response. You need to know what your phobias are. You need to know what your reasonable person is and how you compare to other reasonable people. Because if you have a fear of clowns and some guy is playing a prank on you and comes around a corner and is just like going like this to you, and you shoot him because
going
you're
like what?
Like this, and you shoot him dead because it's a clown and you're terrified, you're in jail. And that was not a justified use of a firearm, even though you are absolutely in fear of your life. That is not reasonable to most people. So you have to know yourself. You also have to know if you're a high responder. If you think you're going to go into a fight and try to save somebody else, you need to understand the consequences of that and where you're willing to draw the line, because your life and your liberty and your freedom are on the line. So just make sure that you're making good decisions there and know these things ahead of time. Mental preparation is massive, especially when carrying a gun. You need to understand your ego and how to keep it in check to avoid conflict. You cannot continue on being a road rage person and slamming on your brakes and brake checking people and swerving around people on the highway because that's the way you've always done it and you've never had any issues. Well, now you have a gun on. And if you were to cause an accident or somebody else were to cause an accident over road rage and things were to escalate to the point of using deadly force, that would all come out in law and the courts, and you would be in big trouble. And we don't want to get to that point. So don't do things that escalate to that.
I kind of want to go down that.
I know,
a little bit, but we're so short on time.
4 minutes.
I'm gonna. Okay, so let's do this. How much more of that do you want to do, or can I go?
No, you're good.
This?
Go
Okay,
for it.
so we're driving down the road, me and you, don't know each other. I cut you off, total accident, you get pissed, you drive around me, brake check me, whatever, cause an accident, okay? So you're enraged, you're mad at me, you cause an accident, and you're driving erratically, and maybe you hit me, let's just say you hit me and somebody else. So all three of us are now stopped in the road. I jump out of the car, and I'm like, what the hell is your problem, lady? And I'm coming running at you. Right, at your car, not running, but walking aggressively. Can you draw your gun and shoot me? Could you be in fear for your life because I'm advancing? Just answer that question. Could you be in fear for your life?
Yes.
Okay, but you caused the escalation.
Right.
Right? That's what's going to come out. That's what people often don't think about. Well, Phil's much bigger than Liz is, so and if we don't know each other and I come out of my car yelling, you crazy lady, and I'm walking aggressively towards her.
I'm gonna kick your ass. Yeah.
To the people outside of our situation, it's gonna look like I'm the violent one, right? Like I'm being aggressive towards her, and in that moment I am.
Yeah.
But she caused the escalation. Okay, that's what would hopefully come out. Somebody else sees the whole thing. It's like no. She chased him down and pitted him and caused him to crash into this other car, and when he got out of his car, she shot him.
Yep.
That's what people don't think about. They think about just the fact that, well, this big guy gets out yelling and screaming, so she was defending herself. No. I mean, maybe in that one particular moment, but you caused the escalation. And you have a hand in that.
And even if, let's say, a jury did find me innocent, it was a justifiable use of force.
Ooh,
because it would. The perception of you coming at me is going to bring that up for sure.
You have to be an innocent party.
You have to be an innocent party, and the preclusion
you committed a crime essentially with the road rage and causing that accident. You're not an innocent party anymore.
No.
That's what people forget to look at.
And that all adds to the reasonableness of my use of force. Well, you were not reasonable because you were the one that caused it.
Yeah.
So, it's...
And that's a relatively simple example. It didn't get crazy complicated.
Yeah. The totality of the circumstances.
Correct.
Perfect. So, there's more here, so we'll have a part 2. Because, truthfully, owning a gun, a lot of people think you just walk into the store, buy a gun, you walk home, pick up this gun, and perfect. And just throw it under the bed or put it in the safe, and I'm good. There's so much more to it than that. And we only made it through about a third of my list over here. So we'll talk more about it on our next live show, and we'll have a part 2.
It'll be next week, unless we do one early Saturday. Wait, are we all here Saturday? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on Saturday.
I don't know what date it is.
Because you're not here tomorrow, I'm not here Friday.
Yeah, it's okay.
It'll
We'll
be
figure it
next
out.
week. Yeah.
We'll be back for more.
Okay, we will be, hopefully. Unless we get fired between now and then. Maybe. Or I get hit by a bus. Who knows? All right, we're going to go away because we actually have to go do work and stuff. So if you guys need something, come see us. 14803 Manchester Road. in beautiful Baldwin, Missouri. She's doing it because somebody asked, if you're watching this later, they wanted to
Do the
see
clap
Liz
dance.
dance.
That's hardly dancing. That's a wiggle.
Looks like a bobblehead.
You need trainer bobbleheads.
Oh my goodness. Charles, we need trainer bobbleheads.
Trainer bobbleheads.
Okay. Just come hang out with us. How about that?
Okay.
Next Saturday, you really get to hang out with us, and you get to. You don't get to hold my head underwater, but you do get to dunk me in a dunk tank, and we have that includes you. We have all sorts of other fun and games and deals and stuff going on next weekend. So come hang out with us. That's it. I gotta go. You guys stay safe, be nice to one another, and we'll catch you soon. Later.
Toodles.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.